Hey gang, I got an offer for you today from LinkedIn. As business to business marketers, your needs are unique. B2B buying cycles are long and your customers face incredibly complex decisions. Isn't it time you had a marketing platform built specifically for you? LinkedIn ads empower marketers with solutions for you and your customers. LinkedIn ads allow you to build the right relationships, drive results, and reach your customers in a respectful environment. On LinkedIn, you have direct access to build relationships with decision makers. Of the 875 million users on the network, 180 million are senior level executives. 10 million are C-level executives. You will also be able to drive results with targeting and measuring with their tools built specifically for B2B. And best of all, they work. Audiences exposed to brand messages on LinkedIn are 6 times more likely to convert. LinkedIn ads also rank #1 for security, community, and ad experience as part of the Business Insider's Digital Trust Study. Make B2B marketing everything it can be and get a $100 credit. It's a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. It's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply. Entrepreneurs Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. It's about the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, and how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneurs Enigma. Let's get started. Hey everybody, this episode is with Sangram Vajre. He is the co-founder of Terminus, an ABM platform to help people really get a hold of account-based marketing. He also is the founding father, along with some others, of ABM, and he helped coin that phrase, flip the funnel as well. Great episode. He is a marketing genius. Hopefully you enjoy it. I've known Sangram for 13 plus years. He's full of great knowledge. Find him on LinkedIn. Find him over Terminus, TERMINUS.com. I hope you enjoyed the show because I certainly did. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. I'm Seth. With me today is Sangram Vajre of a bunch of different things. Of the co-founder of Terminus, which is an ABM, account-based marketing platform. We'll talk about that. He's also the brains behind ABM in general. He has 3 books out there. His most recent one is Move, the 4 questions you have to ask to go to market. That's a great one. ABM to B2B. He has a Flip My Funnel podcast. I mean, literally, this guy doesn't sleep. And in addition to that, he has a great community called Peak.Community, which I'm a member of. Love it. It's a bunch of marketers in there, not trying to sell each other, just trying to help each other get 1% better. Is it every day or every week?
Yeah, every week.
I try to be 1% better every day.
There you go. I love that.
Oh, absolutely. So Sangram, tell us about you. So we start off. We first met probably 10 years ago when you were working in corporate hosting for Internap, and I was doing some freelance for a small little web design company whose owner, whose brother was hosting company, was purchased by Internap.
Yep.
And we met in New York at the kind of let's celebrate party.
Yeah.
And then we've been friends ever since. So it's been a while, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic journey, man. I think even though the last few years has been hard for a lot of us in many different ways, it has also opened up many doors. I feel like the last 2 years, I mean, the fact that you and I are connected because of the Peak community and we started because of COVID, it's a really serendipitous moment.
Yeah. Oh, so Peak started at COVID. Is it what?
Yeah. I mean, year and a half ago, or almost a year and a half ago, now we started. Judd and I really, we are community people. We love community, and there no events were happening. Everything stopped. So we're like, how do we engage? And there were so many people at that time. Marketers would reach out to either him or I because he's in recruiting and staffing, and I've been a CMO a few times. Would say, how do you become a CMO? How do you become a better marketer? And we're like, well, we can't do this one-on-one calls all day long. Let's just bring and build a community and try to keep it sales free. Let's not have any sponsors. So it's literally, as you know, you've been in it. Is like it is.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Global in nature, so people from all over the world are in there, and it's been fun.
And you talk about on LinkedIn today to be very, upfront here. You have your retention is like 82%, which is like unheard of in
Yeah.
communities. Like I'm surprised it's not even higher. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a few people that just haven't gotten around to it, but I mean, I've brought 3 people in.
That's what we hear all the time, Seth, is like it is because it is not a Sangram community, which is the
Yeah.
last thing I ever wanted anything to be.
Mm-hmm.
It is your community as much as the events are run by
Mm-hmm.
the people in the community. A lot of times I wouldn't be even in those events. And that's what we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to build is let's learn, let's sharpen each other.
It's fantastic. It's a good case study in how to run a community. If
And
you want to run a community, take a look at Peak. It's Peak.Community. If you're watching the video, it's at the bottom of the screen right now, scrolling. But it's fantastic, and it's a good way for you to give back and share. And it's such a fantastic community just to chat and just you don't feel lonely because everyone's out there kind of helping each other out. It's
yeah.
fantastic.
And one of the things I posted this morning that you probably are referring to is like Judd, who's my co-host and co-founder in this community. He does onboarding for every single member. Every single member. Like this is not like, oh, you're in and you don't know. No, no, no. Every Friday he does 2 onboardings because of different time zones. One in the morning, one in the evening, and he would talk to every person who joins every week to tell them like, hey, look, this is a real person, a
It's
real
helpful
community.
too.
That he's tremendously helpful. So I think it's just great people.
It's great people. And talking about great people who love to talk about marketing and all that, fill the audience in on what the heck is account-based marketing versus regular marketing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I tried to pen it with my second book, which is ABM is B2B, and I thought that will be the end of discussion on that book,
Mhm.
right?
No, it's gone gangbusters.
It has.
Mhm.
What's interesting is it's really no different than better marketing and sales. So I think about it as in B2B, we all know these 3 things. Number one, we know there's more than one person making a buying decision. So it's a committee, you have 4 or 5 people, sometimes maybe even 7, based on some studies, part of the decision making process. Number two, we know that the sales cycle is longer. You don't just go and get something. You kind of go through the motions in it, right? And that's why there are sales process and sales and marketing is so important. And number three, ultimately, if you make a bad decision, you'll get fired. Like it's
Mhm.
just right. So based on those 3 reasons, like what account based really is that when you hire salespeople, their title is account executive. It's not a lead executive, which means the
No.
salespeople has forever known that they sell into accounts that are made up of more than one person and they have a
Mhm.
longer sales cycle. And their job is to build a relationship so they feel they can trust it so they can buy it and get promoted in their organization. So ABM is a way of getting organizations to wrap their hands around the entire buyer community and be able to make sure that they're making the right decision. And that's really what ABM does.
That's awesome. It's a great way of thinking about it because in the small business, you usually go out and you deal with one person. Mid-level business, you're talking to maybe 2 or 3 people, maybe. But when you talk to enterprise, it's like there's a whole department of procurement for crying out loud. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
So that's your second book. Now your third book, the first book was the ABM for Dummies book. So
Yep.
it was the quintessential, almost required book you have to write when you come up with a new strategy. You have to write the For Dummies book. So
Right.
the next one is Move, the 4-question go-to-market framework. Fill us in on that. And that was written with Brian Brown.
Yeah, it's been such an incredible time set of research in the last 2 years. Really, at COVID, you can pick up the phone and talk to anybody. So I literally took advantage of it, and we interviewed Jeffrey Moore, who wrote Crossing the Chasm, and Brian Halligan, who was the CEO of HubSpot, to
Oh,
like
wow.
just incredible people, VCs, investors, all across the board. And what's interesting is there is a research that people can look at. It's called the SaaS Valley of Death. Anybody can Google that, SaaS Valley of Death. And it shows that it is incredibly hard to even get to 10 million revenue. It's like 0.4%
Wow.
of the companies get to 10 million. But what's even worse, Seth, which has shocked me and the genesis of this book, is that companies between 10 to 50 are even lower percentage of companies actually get there. So it's called the Valley of Death. You hit, like, so if it's 1 million is here, 10 million is here, and the number of companies who get to 50 million is even lower. You can't even see it on the screen, as low as they go.
Wow.
It's like 0.04%. And the reason they cited out, it's a study from McKinsey and others, was the reason companies don't survive after 10 million especially is because those companies, it's not because their vision all of a sudden becomes outdated. Their vision is as real as it still is. It's not because they can't hire great team members. As a matter of fact, they can. They may be different at different stage, but they can. But what's interesting is the reason they die is because, based on McKinsey study and others, was because their go-to-market never
Oh,
evolved.
yeah.
Right? Your go-to-market at an early stage needs to evolve from what it is at a problem market fit, what we call in the book, to product market fit, and then platform market fit. If those are the three stages of the business, your go-to-market has to be completely, literally, completely different, like almost a different company. And that's
Hmm.
why companies fail, and that's why we wrote this book, so we can help companies navigate those that value of depth.
Oh, it's a great book. I was lucky enough to get an advanced copy. I finished it in like 3 days.
Yeah.
It was like, I have to read this book. And it was something that, even for a small one or two person shop like myself, it's still good to know, because I'm dealing with other people and other businesses that are bigger than I am. And the idea is, I can just say, hey, here's this book. You need to go read this book so we can make you successful. And it's fantastic.
Yeah. I think what's also interesting, Seth, for a period of time, what I learned from the book, the research for the book, is that go to market, just like ABM, like it's so interesting. ABM is nothing new. To go to the right company and surround your arms around the entire, I mean, like salespeople always knew that's why their title is account executive, right? So it's nothing new. Go to market is also nothing new. But what's interesting is people have just not been defining it well, not creating a framework around it. And if you look at all the books I've ever written so far, like all three of them, the first book, the Dummies book, had the Flip My Funnel framework. The second book that I wrote, ABM is B2B, had the team framework. And now, as you look at this book, The Move, the 4-question go-to-market framework, has the Move framework. So to me, I love practical stuff, not just inspirational stuff. I love stuff that people can take and implement tomorrow in their
Yeah,
organization and see how it works. So my goal and hope is that people would not be just inspired, but rather create a change and transformation in their organization.
absolutely. And that's fantastic. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your whole entrepreneurial journey. After all, this show is called The Entrepreneur's Enigma, the puzzle of being an entrepreneur. How's that been for you? I mean, I know you've done entrepreneurship, you've done stuff at Internet where you're working for a bigger company, and then you started, Terminus, you know, as a co-founder. So you came in at the top saying, "This is my baby. We're implementing ABM. This is what we're doing for people." What was the entrepreneurial journey? How's that been for you?
Well, I'll tell you a quick story. I don't share that much often, but I'll share this with
Yeah.
you
Oh.
on this part, which is I was at Salesforce, right? My last company, I was running marketing at Pardot. We got acquired by Salesforce, so I spent some time at Salesforce. And when I met the two folks who started this and co-founded this company with, it was right when we had our second baby, my daughter. She was
Oh.
4 weeks old,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, she was like real small. And my wife wasn't working because we wanted to take it easy. We want to make sure that we are spending time with the family in the early days and all that. And I'd go meet these two folks, and say, hey, I really feel like there is something here. And I come home and talk to my wife about it. Her name is Manmeet, and I say, Manmeet, I think I want to do this thing. And she was like, we can't afford it. You can't.
You just had a 40-year-old baby.
Yeah, we're like 4 weeks old baby, like
Oh,
what the
wow.
second baby, right? Like second kid. So, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. And but I really feel like I need to do this because I really feel that there's something here, and I feel very passionate about it. So a few days of conversation back and forth, that she said something that I hope every partner would say to their partner when they are in a situation like I was. She said, look, I can see in your eyes that you're super passionate about it, and if you don't do this, you're gonna regret. I'm like, you're absolutely right. I'm gonna regret if I don't take this plunge. She's like, all right, I'm gonna go find a job. She found a job in like 2 weeks, and she said, but here's the thing, I'm going to give you 1 year. In 1 year, show me this thing has legs. Otherwise, you're going to find a real job. It put so much fire underneath me. It wasn't about me saying, I'm an entrepreneur. Let me try. No, no, no. There was a clock that was running like every day
Hmm.
where I was able to come home, not making money enough. And my wife was working with 2 kids. At the end of the day, it does get more on the woman and your wife when you have a
Yeah.
baby than a guy. It's just the truth. So, and then she's doing all this stuff while I'm trying to build a company and really trying. So for me, the first year was to prove that this has legs, because I couldn't imagine going back to work full time anywhere else at that time, and I'm so grateful for that.
And it, clearly it had legs. I
Yeah.
mean, how many years later? I mean, seriously, I mean, it had legs. It's working. You have a very popular podcast. It's, which you can see at the bottom of the screen. I came prepared. It's Flip My Funnel, where you have guest podcasters on there every once in a while, where you talk about the whole idea of flipping the funnel to be more direct. Now, tell us a little bit of flipping the funnel. Like, what is that? I mean, I kind of give a little synopsis, but in your
Yeah.
words, what is flip the funnel?
Yeah, so the idea came about was literally on a flight when I was at a conference coming back from San Francisco. It was 7 years ago, like right, literally the first year of Terminus. It was literally sitting in between two drunk people, trying no internet, so I was trying to draw something, and I was drawing the funnel, and I was like, what if it was flipped? Like, no, there's nothing beautiful other than the fact that I was bored and I just wanted to do something, and
That's
I
awesome.
flipped it. And it's the traditional funnel that we know, which is broad at the top, narrow at the bottom.
Yeah.
And at the conference, they were talking about the research that Forrester came out with at that time, saying less than 1% of the leads turn into customers. And the reason is because hundreds come in and only one become a customer. I'm like, that's crazy. Why would we get 100 customers, especially in B2B, when you know who your target audience and target customer is? You're not selling a Nike shoe, you're selling the software to a particular audience. So you should know who your target audience. So who are your target audience? And they were talking about that funnel. I'm like, what if it was flipped? What if we start with the best fit accounts? What will happen? And so the new stage is that became flip my funnel was identify the best fit accounts. So if you're selling to financial services, Fortune 500 companies, guess what? There are no more than 500 companies in Fortune 500 list, and there are only a few in financial services. So that's your list. That start identify the list there, and then go after them. And then so the funnel was literally that: identify the best fit accounts, engage with them, and turn them into advocates. And that became the idea. Another way of showing ABM that people understand. People understood funnels, and we just flipped it, and that became a movement in a way.
So I like listening to your take. I like listening to your take, and then listen to about how other people have implemented it. You know, how they're like, well, this is how we took this idea and we ran with it, and this is our take on ABM. You know, and the thing is, I feel like a lot of people in the marketing space get stuck on the term like account-based marketing. What is that? You explained it perfectly well. It's focusing on the department, on the company, not just that one Joe in procurement, because that one Joe in procurement is one guy in all procurement, you know?
Yeah, that and I think that's really interesting. So I love that when people, I see so many times, almost every day, if not every week, somebody saying, here is the, like literally taking the funnel, literally taking and putting it on the website blog. And every time I see that, I chuckle, because the more people do and use and implement ABM, the better I think businesses will be. And it's great. So I think as long as we're able to build great business around it, all power to it.
Absolutely. So Sangram, where is the best place for people to find you? I mean, because Terminus, or is it? I put a short URL up for your books on Amazon, so people can go over there. This will all be in the show notes.
Yeah.
Or the Peak.Community. Like, where's the best place for people to come find you?
Yeah, if you're a marketer, I would highly recommend, as Seth says, go check out Peak.Community, because that's where we love, and I engage over there a lot more intimately every day, every week. But outside of that, I would say just connect with me on LinkedIn.
You're very big on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I share. That's the only platform I'm on. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on any other place, really. I'm like Twitter only when I do events and stuff.
Yeah,
But
Twitter's fun, but Twitter's fun to follow hashtags and stuff like that. LinkedIn has gotten so much better lately. So
yeah. So I engage over there. I made a decision set about 3 years ago that I will learn something every day. And if you think about it, that's how Peak is about, right? Getting 1% in a week better every week. So in order to learn something every day, I have to share with myself every day. So to me, LinkedIn, I just share with myself. It's my notes to myself many times. And if it inspires others, great. If not, I don't care. I just want to learn.
No, it helped you. It inspired you, and that's what matters. So definitely. So everybody, if you love the show and you want to subscribe, go to entrepreneursenigma.com. And if you really want to show some love, go to the podcast directory of your choice. Does not have to be Apple. There's Podchaser out there. The Podcast Index doesn't have a review platform, but it's the index for podcasting. But please give us a review that helps everyone get us found. And Sangram It's always fun chatting with you. It's been too long. We gotta make sure we chat more
Yeah,
often.
I love it, man. Thank you for who you are and what you do, man. Thank you, Seth.
That was a great show. Hey, if you're enjoying Entrepreneurs Enigma, please give us a review on the podcast directory of your choice. We're on all of them. And these reviews really help others find the show. Also, if you're getting value from the show and want to buy me a coffee, go to the show notes and click on the link to help me stay awake while I bring you more great episodes to your ears. That's in the show notes, and I look forward to the next episode. Take care, guys.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Jamie Lieberman hosts a great podcast called the Unbusiness Podcast. Jamie, tell us what these fine folks will get when they listen.
The Unbusiness Podcast provides interviews with real-life entrepreneurs to talk about their struggles, their strategies, and how they have had success and what they've done in the face of failure. It is a real-life look at what it means to own your own business and gives you real takeaways on how you can make yours better.
Awesome. Where can people subscribe?
Go to #legal.com/podcasts. Find the show at marketingpodcasts.net or search for the Unbusiness Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.